another episode of the Lone Recruiter Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Clemenson, and in today's episode, I have got my hands on the Hume Scope 2024 Salary, Billings, and Commission Guide. Yes, I have the blessing of Ez Khan. Thank you very much, sir. This report he's put together and his team, they've released it just this week, and it's a fantastic insight as to what the recruitment sector in Australia is doing in general for billings, for salaries, and they've broken it down into different sectors, and I think it's a really valuable report. So thank you guys for pulling this one together. And what I'm going to do is go through some key highlights that I've pulled out of this one, and I'm going to direct you to where you can actually get your hands on this document yourself and go through it because it's a really, really interesting read. I guess first cab off the rank is there is an executive summary in here, and it's a bit of a snapshot of what's happened. So the last report they did was in 2022, and I'm just looking here. The average salary for consultants was $75,000 plus super back in 2022. So 2 years on, that's actually increased by $2,000 to $77,000 plus super as an average for a consultant salary. Now, a senior consultant also saw a similar trend. They went from a roughly 89 plus super in 2022 to 94 plus super this year. So they've probably had a bit more of a financial bump, but maybe as a percentage, it's roughly the same. Some of the standout findings from this report, again, probably don't surprise people, but it's great to know, is that healthcare emerged as the top performing sector. They've got senior consultants ranking in an average quarterly billings of $160,000. Some areas like HR, tech, and IT, there were consultants outperforming senior consultants. So not necessarily, experience is not necessarily yielding you higher results. So that's a really interesting finding. And at the end of the report, they do go into what are the top 5 reasons or things that recruiters are looking for. No surprises there. Number 1, base salary. Number 2, commissions. All right. If you think it's anything else, you're dreaming. Number 3 is learning and development opportunities. But then it very quickly tails off into other areas. So again, salary and commissions are the main reason we're here. That's fine. Whatever. So I want to dig into some of the sectors, right? So he's broken this up into healthcare, tech, HR, business support, built environment. They're the sort of main areas that they've pulled out as for this data. So it means they've obviously got some meaningful numbers there. Look, I don't think the base salary means too much. It's in that report. For me, it's the average billings because I think that's what we can all relate to. That's your performance metric, isn't it? You know, how am I doing performance-wise versus that person? What you're on your base salary, that's whatever, neither here nor there. We all know it comes out in the wash with our commission structure anyway. So for the healthcare sector, a consultant is billing roughly $97,000 a quarter, and a senior consultant is billing roughly $160,000 a quarter. Now, digging into that detail a little bit, I know for a fact that those senior consultants billing $160,000, it sounds great, but they've probably got 2 to 3 admin resources feeding them people, and those billings are being attributed to their tallies. So take that 160 with a grain of salt. I think that there's probably a little bit more of a team in and around that to get that going because healthcare is a beast, right? It's a lot of volume. So tech, IT sector, again, I think pretty impressive numbers. This one was really interesting. The consultants on average are doing $147,000 in billings a quarter. That's pretty good numbers. The senior consultants on average are doing about 110. So come on, seniors, what are you doing? Are you that jaded? I think we'll see those figures flip now the markets have turned, and it's a bit more of a consultative market. My gut feel is that those senior recruiters are going to use their consultative skills that they had developed before pandemic and before it got really easy street, and I think these juniors are not going to know how on earth to win work and deliver work in the new market. But let's watch this space. I think Hume Scope are going to continue doing these reports. I'd love to get my hands on the next one to see what that change looks like. But yeah, junior consultants in tech, well done, beating your seniors. Keep nipping at their heels. HR sector, I mean, this one, I know a few people who recruit in this sector, and they've been telling me it has been quite tough. The senior recruiters are only billing $74,000 in a quarter. Okay, so that tells me a bit of a state of that market. I wouldn't be comfortable with those figures myself. I know there's a bit of a typo in this report, and I think I've picked it up, and Ez says, yeah, no, it's not right. So I actually don't know what the consultant billings are, but it will be probably the same, or if not lower than what the senior consultants are doing. So I think the HR sector's had a bit of a tumble there. Business support sector, a consultant level is doing about $71,000 in billings, and a senior consultant is doing $73,000 in billings. So quite comparable. Built environment. So this is like construction engineering. Apparently construction's taken a big hit. So a consultant on average is doing $39,000 in a quarter, and a senior consultant is averaging $61,000 a quarter. So traditionally those markets over the last 4 or 5 years have been very red hot. So that's a bit of an indication of where they're headed and how they're performing. So they're the main sectors that they chose to pull out, and I thought that was really useful data. Okay, quick snapshot here. 33% of the data that they've pulled in is from Sydney, and 34% of it's from Melbourne. So almost 70% of this data is Sydney and Melbourne based. Okay, and then there are there's Perth, Brisbane, that sort of stuff, but they give you a nice graph of that. And then lastly, look, the overview of base salaries. We're ranging from a team administrator or a junior consultant. Junior consultant's on about $65,000, about 1 year of experience. You're on about $65,000, okay? And then that goes up to, say, a senior consultant is in roughly about $94,000, and that's someone with about 5-6 years experience. Team leaders, directors, obviously it pushes up from there. Team leaders who have no reports, like they might be managing, that's like $103,000 as a base salary. Team leader who have got reports, about $116,000 as a base. And then a director who's billing is on about $145,000 as a base, and a director who's not billing is on about $177,000 as a base. So, very good snapshot of what's happening in the recruitment market. And in terms of billings, the average billings per quarter across all states and all sectors, here's a real average snapshot here. So a junior consultant is billing about $18,000 a quarter. A consultant is billing about $63,000 a quarter. A senior consultant should be doing about $101,000 a quarter. And that's sort of where, team leaders without reports are doing about $105,000 a quarter. So I hope that helps someone. Perhaps you're thinking, I'm right on the average. Perhaps you're thinking, geez, I'm at the lower end. Or perhaps you're thinking, great, I'm ahead of the pack. These are averages across 700 billers, okay? So I wouldn't get too excited if you're ahead. I wouldn't get too down if you're behind. This is just a great metric to go, am I on track? How am I doing compared to the others? Should I be going harder? Should I not? Should I go get some advice? The beauty of Ez and his team at Hume Scope is that they're here to train and develop you. They're not paying me to say this. I've done some of their stuff and I've gone to some of their meetings, and I think they truly do bring a lot of value. They've got some pretty competitive pricing models too. So if you're listening to this and you haven't thought about reaching out to them, you've seen some of the material online, you think, oh, that's pretty good. I can tell you now, some of the stuff's really, really decent. Okay, so their goal is to increase your skill set, develop, train your staff or yourself in whatever categories that you deem you need help in. And I would start here. And he has very openly said this is a great sort of lead magnet for us, because people come to us and they ask us questions like, shit, I'm below. What do I need to do? Let them help you out. So, like I said, go to humescope.com.au, go to the resources section. You will be able to download his full report. It's like, 60 pages, something ridiculous. Great job, guys. Go and download it, and they're going to ask you to put your data in. Do it. Just do it. It's all confidential. It's going to help the next report, and that's what we want to do. We want to help each other. We want to help each other grow, see where our deficits are, see where our strengths are, and we can all grow and learn together, okay? That's all we have time for you today. Like, share, subscribe. Go check out Hume Scope. It helps us all grow. Thank you. As always, have an amazing day, and may all your deals come true.